Hi, this is Admiral Tarjeta from the 501st Legion, Empire City Garrison, and you are watching the Dark Side Chats.
Well, we're here now at Super Megafest, of course, and as we've seen some interviews, and more to come, actually. I'm sitting here along underneath the 501st section of the convention center, or the hotel/convention center, if you will. And with me here, of course, is a Jedi slime ball. He calls himself Obi Jeff Kenobi. And, well, we're sitting here. We've got some other members of the 501st getting in a costume. This is the second day of the event. And, well, here you are, fully dressed, wanting to be interviewed, and I'm willing to oblige. So first of all, Slime Ball, why is it that you call yourself Obi Jeff Kenobi? Obviously an infatuation with Obi-Wan.
Well, I came up with the idea of Obi Jeff Kenobi when I was in a gaming clan for Jedi Outcast and then Jedi Academy. I came up with Obi Jeff, and then I was like, well, why don't I just take out Obi-Wan and just put Jeff? And it just hit, and I kept it all the time.
What is a gaming clan?
Gaming clan, you have friends online, you meet them, play with them, and since we all like Star Wars at the time, and we all like Star Wars video games, we decided to form a clan, do a little role-playing while we're in the clan, and it just all stuck with us.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're Obi Jeff Kenobi. Well, obviously you're a costumer. You prefer the light side of things.
Yes, I do.
So do you have any favorite memories costuming at events, things like that?
My first event didn't go as well as it should be because I didn't have a full-fledged out costume. I only had a tunic, I had work boots, sweatpants, and a lightsaber. So that was 4 years ago, and since every year it progressed, I would get more of an idea of how it should be. And then finally this year, I'm fully done.
You're a full-fledged Jedi slime ball.
Yes.
I see. Well, you admit to that. Hey, I might turn this person yet. Well, okay then, wonderful. And, well, now, since you're obviously a fan of Star Wars, a geek, fellow geek, that's great. Do you have any favorite moments from the Star Wars movies?
Yeah, when my grandma first brought me back in, I would say, '96 to see the first Star Wars movie, because that's when they pre-released them back out in the movie theaters. I thought it was a blast. I wanted to go see some more. So the year following that was Empire Strikes Back. I saw that one, and then the year after that was Return of the Jedi. And since then, it's just stuck with me.
You've had the prequels since, and we're aching for more. We've
got
Clone Wars.
Waiting for episode 1 to come out. When that was out, I saw that probably 10 times in 1 week.
Wonderful. Well, I guess, do you have any favorite memories costuming and trooping as a slime ball or anything like that?
Just learning everything, meeting new people, getting more of an idea of what my costume should be or based on. And I based my costume off of Obi-Wan in episode 1 because I liked him so much and as a Padawan. You
even have Obi-Wan's episode 1 lightsaber over there. How about that, huh?
Yep.
An apprentice Obi-Wan aficionado, I do say so myself. Well, lastly, if you could ask or tell George Lucas one thing, what would that be?
I would have to say thank you, and also make more movies, please.
I have that same request. Well, thank you, Obi Jeff Kenobi, very much for being a guest right here on the Dark Side Chats.
Thank you.
Well, now we've gone from the lighter side of things to finally a little bit more evilish, if we dare say so. And we have here a clone trooper, a clone commander, I believe?
Captain.
A clone captain, very good. Member of the 501st, I'm assuming?
Alderaan base, actually.
Alderaan base.
Rebel Legion, yep.
The Rebel Legion.
Yep.
A Rebel Legion member dressed as a clone trooper.
Correct.
Good enough. Well, I'm Lord Bruticus. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Steve.
Okay, host of the Dark Side Chats, and I'm interviewing fans here at Super Megafest. And of course, one of the things that I love to do, well, the whole purpose of the Dark Side Chats is to interview fans of Star Wars and occasionally an actor here or there.
Sure.
And we discuss, kind of the joys of costuming, the joys of being a fan, and some of the unique experiences. And so I've got to ask you, what are some of your favorite experiences costuming Some maybe your favorite memories, just kind of trooping.
I think my favorite memory, if I had to pick one of them, was last year on Halloween. We went to the Shriners Burn Hospital in Boston and went trick-or-treating in the hospital with the sick children who were there. I think that was the most rewarding thing I've done so far. And despite, you know, all the comic book conventions and that sort of thing, my favorite thing to do is to work with kids, because the kids get the most out of it. You know, I do an alternate Episode 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi as a costume too. And
kind of like the slime ball I interviewed earlier.
Sure, yeah. And
okay.
The kids buy into it and they get all over and they're like, oh my god, it's Obi-Wan, can I get your autograph, and all that kind of thing. That to me is the most rewarding part. You know, making the costume and walking around in it is cool in a parade, but being with kids is the best.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned earlier that it took you about 8 months to piece your costume together. What kind of labor involves 8 months worth of work?
If you're working a full-time job, it's very difficult to take the time to do this. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, I've dumped about 30 or 40 hours after work into working on this at home in my living room, and it's definitely a lot of effort on that part, and it costs a lot of money, and so you really got to love what you're doing. Especially, I'm a teacher, so I end up doing a lot of work at home anyway.
Gotcha. Well, what kind of work does it involve? You have to mold the pieces to fit your body? Or?
I actually purchased the plastic for the pieces from another gentleman in California who shipped them to me, and I had to sand them down and cut them a little bit and glue them back together, and so he had actually done a clone trooper prior to me getting this, and so I took what he had already done and cut it apart and put it back together. And then added a whole bunch of things because his was much simpler than this.
Right. Well, your accoutrements are fabulous. Your helmet's over here, and sure, if you could pan over here a little bit, and on your helmet you've got looks like a Mandalorian rangefinder. The visor is really incredible. Yes. You even have a wire which looks like you have a voice box. Can you describe that a little bit?
I actually put the voice box on my belt down here, and what they do is run the wire down through the costume into the belt pouch, and when I turn it on, I can speak through it. You can hear it sounds more mechanical that way, as though I were wearing the helmet. The rangefinder is an aluminum stock attached to plastic that's held together with plumber's putty. And on the inside of the helmet, there's foam that keeps it sturdy on my face, and I had to use epoxy to get the visor to stay in there. I also put in a computer fan to keep it cooler, and some other amenities. The tail light on the back actually lights up when you push the button on the inside.
That's great. I can't wait to see it in action. Well, let's go ahead and stand over here. If you could grab your DC-15 blaster, I'd like to talk about that for a moment. If you could kind of zoom in a little bit here on the blaster. This thing is, it looks great. And I got to ask you, did you make that, or where'd you get it from?
This is actually borrowed from a friend who made it herself, and so she used PVC pipe and wiring to hold it together, and wooden blocks and plastic pieces. And so the funny thing about these costumes, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, is that you can make them out of a lot of junk. Like if you have junk sitting around your house, it's just pieces. And that's what I mean, my boots are the same way, where the pieces on my boots are all just stuff that I found lying around the house. So you go to Joann's Fabrics, you pick up some stuff, and you can just glue it together and make it look like what it needs to look like.
That's great. Well, it certainly involves a certain level of artistry, I think, as well. So a lot of talent goes into making the costume, not just wearing it. And, of course, being a fellow fan of Star Wars, I really appreciate this, and I highly admire the 501st. Lastly, I've got to ask you, same question I ask everybody on the show. If you could ask or tell George Lucas one thing, what would that be?
I'd ask him how his day was going, because I feel like he probably gets inundated with questions about the movies and about everything else he's done in his career, and I think it's probably been a while since somebody said, hey, how's it going?
That would be a refreshing question, I think, for someone of his stature.
Watching the people, the celebrities at the conventions, I feel like that's the one question they never get asked is, how are they? They immediately get asked about what they did or what they think or all these other things, and it'd be nice to just have somebody seem like they care.
Right. So. And how many fans can honestly say in person right up front that they really, really, truly care? Not all of them do right up front. And it's nice to know that there are really caring people out there. Well, thank you very much for being a guest right on the Dark Side Chats. I highly appreciate it.
And now for the question to answer. Imperial officer uniforms have been seen in many different colors: black, gray, white, and even green, to name some. What does each color represent? Put your answer in the comments section. In the next episode of the Dark Side Chats, 2 more interviews from Super Megafest 2009. Until next time, may the dark side be with you always.
Give yourself to the dark side.
I never meant to destroy you. and yet you are not completely gone. You were with child, and that child still lives. I feel it in the Force.